welcome to my channel. First of all, I want to apologise for the delay on getting this video uploaded. I've been having some issues with my microphone, but that's all fixed now, so I will be putting this out ASAP. So I've been having a little think about what today's video topic should be, and I've decided I'd like to talk about the medication Olanzapine and what it's like to come off that cold turkey. Now, I am in no way trying to put people off taking Olanzapine because it has truly been a lifesaver for me, particularly in regards to psychosis. But there came a time around a year and a half ago where I did actually decide that I was going to stop taking it just out of the blue, and it did not end well. I actually have a video explaining fully the pros and cons of Olanzapine, which I'll leave a link to down in the description, so you can check that out if that's helpful. But what I'll be doing today is talking you through the 10-day journey that I went through, and I'll also be including some real life footage of how I ended up, so stay tuned for that. So, like I say, this video is not in any way, shape or form to worry anyone that may currently be taking this medication or considering taking it, because it truly does have its benefits. But I just want to express why it's not safe to stop taking it just like that. So if you are taking Olanzapine or any medication for that matter, and you decide that you may want to come off it, please speak to your doctor, because what they'll do is most likely taper you off gradually, which is going to be so much safer. So now onto the video. So first of all, let's discuss what led to me stopping taking this medication in the first place. So I'd been away from home for a few days and had forgotten to take my Olanzapine with me. Now, I was still taking my other meds, so I had my mirtazapine and my diazepam. But due to Olanzapine being such a tiny tablet, I've actually got one to show you here. It comes in a little packet, and it's only... that's the size of it. I really thought it wasn't going to make much difference. How wrong could I be? So I thought I'd be absolutely fine. And to be honest, for the first few days, I felt sharper. I felt more alert in the mornings, and I just felt generally more on the ball and like things were clearer to me. Now, I normally wake up around 10 a.m, maybe a little bit later, but I found that I was waking up sharp as a button at 7 a.m. and ready to get to the gym. So at first I thought, well, this is great. So obviously there's me thinking, well, if I just stop taking the Olanzapine, I'm going to feel more productive and I'm going to feel more focused. So I continued not taking it. And this was true at first in the beginning few days, but from around day 5, I think it was day 5, things started to deteriorate. So the first thing I noticed was my sense of touch. So like when I'd press on certain areas of my skin, I wouldn't feel any pressure at all. And it kind of went on from there and progressed, and my whole body just started to feel completely numb. What I did though is I thought that this was a symptom of anxiety, because I do suffer from anxiety as well. So I kind of brushed off this side effect and continued not taking it. And like I say, from day 5, things started to deteriorate rapidly. So from here, the numbness and the tingling got worse progressively very quickly actually. And I would find that even if I'd run a really hot bath, I would be sitting there shivering, not feeling any heat at all. And I'll be honest with you, this is the point where I started to get scared. But I still didn't consider that this was Olanzapine withdrawal. So what I was doing, I was Googling my symptoms and thinking I had all these scary diseases, all these scary conditions. Note to self, never Google your symptoms. I just did not know what the heck was going on with me. So it continued from here, and not only did the numbness continue to get worse, but I also started to notice another whole batch of physical side effects occurring, which were pretty terrifying, to be honest. And this included my tongue not feeling like it fit in my mouth properly.
I don't like that. Put your tongue back in your mouth. Tongue in your mouth. And close it.
And also my arms and my legs didn't feel like they fit into my body in the right way. So I was struggling to coordinate my movements. Now I've actually got 2 clips that I recorded of myself whilst this was happening. So hopefully this will be able to illustrate to you what was going on, particularly with my left arm and my hand. And you can clearly see the fear in my face in these videos. So yeah, it was very, very scary. So this first clip I'm going to show you is when my skin started to feel like it was not fitting into place, and also when the numbness was really starting to get severe. Right, so I want to get this on camera. I don't know how to explain it. feel like my hand doesn't feel particularly steady. My skin, my heart is racing. My skin feels really weird. Really like sticky. My tongue feels really sticky and I feel like itchy, but like when I go to itch it, I can't feel it. My ears feel really weird. Feel like really like can't feel it. Feels weird. But I don't know what it is. I just want to see if I look back on it, if anything looks different. I feel right. I feel really, really, really cold. And the second clip is from around an hour and a half to 2 hours later, because it was still progressing very quickly. And it's when I started to lose the control or motion in my hands and arms. So in this clip, you'll see me trying to pick up a pen to do some writing, and it just was not physically possible. So by now, I had genuinely convinced myself that I had motor neuron disease due to the side effects that I've been Googling, and I was truly starting to panic. Now, my dad and his friend actually came back a couple of hours later on into the day, and they had to help me get down my stairs because my legs had started to go by this point. Now, this was scary. So when I try and stand up, I was so wobbly. I did actually fall down a couple of times. I just had no coordination, no movement. So they'd help me with that, and we put it down to fatigue because I frequently was suffering a lot of burnout around this time because I was overworking myself, and I still hadn't told my dad that I'd stopped taking my Olanzapine, because in my mind I thought, well, I don't want it to stifle me anymore. I know it's stupid looking back, but that's what I thought at the time. I still didn't think any of this was anything to do with the Olanzapine, so I didn't see the point in mentioning it. Like I said, I thought I had a really serious illness. So now this leads us to the grand finale, day 10. So day number 10 of when I stopped taking the Olanzapine is when things kind of came to a head. So on top of everything else, day number 10 is when the noises started, and I will explain that as we go on. But it basically felt like a pressure in my head, like all my thoughts were bursting to get out, which generally happens when I'm in psychosis. Now, my dad had seen how much I've been struggling and that I've been poorly, and I'd basically been lying in bed crying a lot of the time, just waiting for this to pass or hoping it was going to get better, still not thinking it was the Olanzapine. And he suggested that a trip out to the shops to get me some fresh air, get me out, might be a good idea to help me feel a little better. So I agreed, thinking, yep, worth a try. Big mistake. So once we'd arrived, the sheer brightness, the noise of all the people, everything was just excruciating to me, and I was so struggling to do this shop. I mean, with my arms and legs not coordinating properly, I was having to hold onto the trolley to be able to walk correctly. I kept dropping stuff because my hands just would not connect. And mid-shop, I just had a complete freak out. Now, luckily, my dad always does carry diazepam with him. And so I was able to take my diazepam there and then, but it was too far gone by this point. Now, we did manage to get the shop completed, probably due to the help of the diazepam, just to bring that level down a little bit. But I was just desperate to get out of the place. Like I say, just the noise, just everything was so overwhelming to me. And even the journey on the way back was difficult. All I had to do was sit in the car, and that was a challenge to me. And when I got home, this is when things reached a really unsafe level and the penny finally dropped. So once we got back home, I actually left all the shopping just unpacked in bags on the floor, which I never do. I normally get it straight packed, put away, and got myself into bed and put the duvet straight over my head and just laid there curled up. Like I say, it was so much pain in my head, and I was definitely in full psychosis by this point. And it was like all my thoughts were making noise out loud. I don't know if you've seen that scene on Bruce Almighty where he is granted the position of God, and he hears all the prayers out loud and he just cannot concentrate on anything. But it was very similar to that. That's the best way that I can explain how this felt. So I started babbling out loud, talking absolute complete and utter nonsense, and my dad had heard the commotion. Obviously he knew that I was unwell anyway, so he came up to check on me. And this is hard to talk about because it's scary, but it's the reality. I, by now, had a cotton bud lodged into my ear, trying to dig out these thoughts and dig out the noise. Now, thank goodness he had come up at this point, because it could have ended absolutely horribly otherwise. So at first, my dad had tried to talk to me and calm me down about what was going on, what was the root cause of the problem. Due to my previous issues with addiction, in his mind, I assume he thought it could have been to do with that, which it wasn't. And I was too far gone by this point to be able to have a conversation about this. I didn't know what was going on due to the psychosis, because the olanzapine helps with my psychosis, and obviously I'd not been taking it. But then all of a sudden, he said, "Have you been taking your meds?" And I managed to say, "Not my olanzapine." So what he did is he got me one there and then to take. It wasn't a request, it was a demand. And I still, in my mind, I thought, I must have been in denial. I thought, this isn't going to make any difference. It's not the olanzapine. But I took it anyway because I wasn't offered a choice by now. And literally, no joke, within the space of 5 minutes of taking it, the buzzing and the pressure and the noise started to quieten down. And I started to feel like I was snapping back into my body again. And then it happened like that. And I just felt back how I was meant to be. And it was such a relief after all this hell that I'd been through for the last few days. So once I'd taken my 5 milligram of olanzapine after not taking it for 10 days straight, I just laid in bed feeling completely calm, completely still, and just sort of basking in this feeling of being back normal, or as close to normal as I can ever be. Who's normal, but hey ho. And it kind of happened in stages. So first of all, the psychosis wore off, which was such a relief after what I'd been through, because I've done a video on psychosis as well, and it is just extremely terrifying and unpleasant. And then after that, the numbness and tingling started to improve, and my sensations came back, and I just started feeling stable and like my thoughts were back as they should be again. So I think they say it normally takes around 6 weeks or so for meds to fully get into your system. But for me, when I'd taken that dose just then, it seemed to kick in instantly and immediately stop the psychosis. But I have been taking it for 3 years prior to when I'd had this 10 days off. So I assume that's why. And it really does illustrate to me how effective this medication is. I know that might sound a bit counterproductive after what I've been through with coming off it, but it shows that I have psychosis, and the olanzapine stops the psychosis, and if I stop taking it, it may come back. So it worked its magic, and it worked its magic very, very quickly. So the moral of today's video is to never stop taking your meds cold turkey. If you decide you want to come off them, like I discussed at the beginning of the video, please consult your doctor, and you can do so safely. But they're there for a purpose, so you never just want to abruptly stop taking them. Now, I'm not trying to knock this medication. I do not want to put you off it. I just want to make sure that no one else goes through the same distressing ordeal that I did. Medication can have so many benefits, and they really can help with your mental health, but just don't stop taking them just like that. So that brings us to the end of today's video, and I so hope that you have found this helpful today. I like to do my videos based on things that I have personal experience with, which is around mental health and medication and things like that, to hopefully advise and point you in the right direction, and also stop you from making the same mistakes in the past that I have. I actually recently put out a video asking what kind of future content you would like for the channel. And I got a bit of feedback that you would like to hear about my previous addiction issues. And I think and I'm hoping that I have the confidence to delve into this a little bit and chat to you about what's gone on in my past there, and hopefully bring to you the reassurance that recovery is not only possible, but it's also beautiful, and I promise you that. So they are my ideas for the future. Any other requests, feel free to put down in the comments, and I'm always happy to oblige. Just one more thing to note: if you did enjoy today's video, please like and subscribe. Please subscribe, because it's my birthday on the 30th of December, the day before New Year's Eve, and if I could hit my 200 subscriber target by then, I will be the happiest girl in the world. So thank you so much for watching, and ciao for now.